Ever wonder how all this stuff we're building in Web3, the digital art, these new apps, how it actually sticks around?
Yeah, how it doesn't just sort of vanish.
Exactly. And how do we access it quickly? It feels a bit tricky sometimes, doesn't it?
It definitely can be.
Well, today for this deep dive, we're looking into a system designed to tackle exactly that.
We're diving into the AIOZ Pin Infrastructure,
Yeah.
and we're using the AIOZ Pin docs as our main source here. They lay out how it all works.
Okay, AIOZ Pin. So the docs say it's like the top layer of the AIOZ network, dCDN. That's their decentralized content delivery network, right?
hmm Think of it as a specialized Web3 storage solution built on top of that bigger network.
Gotcha. And it seems to have, what, three main parts?
That's right, three core components. We've got
Yeah.
AIOZ Pin Files Pinning, which is really key for making sure data, persists.
Okay.
Then there's NFT Management, how it helps with handling NFTs.
Right, the whole minting and managing side.
Exactly. And finally, AIOZ Pin Premium Gateways, that's all about speed and reliable access to the stored data.
Okay, so our mission today is really to understand how AIOZ Pin keeps Web3 data available, keeps it accessible, especially for things like NFTs and dApps.
Yeah, and we want to give you the important stuff, the practical understanding,
Yeah.
without getting lost in, like, super technical weeds.
Perfect. Let's start with that first one then. AIOZ Pin Files Pinning. Now, I've heard pinning mentioned with IPFS before. What's the core idea?
Right, so pinning in IPFS, it's essentially like telling the network, hey, this specific piece of data, it's important, make sure at least one node keeps a copy.
Okay, so it's not just saved somewhere, it's actively marked for preservation.
Precisely. And that's absolutely vital for long-term availability, especially for data that maybe isn't accessed all the time. You don't want it to just disappear because no one's looked at it recently.
Makes sense. It's like putting a do not delete sticker on it across the network. Now, the docs talk about an advanced pinning mechanism in AIOZ Pin. What makes it advanced?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, historically, a big challenge for dApps was data just vanishing. If the original node storing something went offline, poof.
Your DApp breaks.
Exactly, your dApp could break.
Yeah.
AIOZ Pin's approach is meant to provide more robust persistence. Their system works to ensure files stay available even if they aren't being actively fetched.
So it adds a layer of reliability.
A significant one, yeah. It's a real benefit for dApp developers. If you're building an app that relies on certain files, maybe interface elements, code snippets, whatever you need them to be there.
You can't have the foundation crumbling.
Right. This aims to provide that solid, reliable foundation.
Okay, that clarifies the why behind pinning. Let's move to the second bit. NFT management. This is pretty self-explanatory, but what's the focus here? The docs mention simplifying things.
Yeah, it's about making the whole life cycle of an NFT easier. Minting, managing, even getting analytics on them.
How does it simplify it?
Well, a big part is providing APIs and SDKs.
Okay, the developer tools.
Exactly. APIs let different software systems talk to each other smoothly, and SDKs are like toolkits with pre-written code developers can use.
So instead of building everything from scratch?
Right. They can use these AIOZ pin tools to handle NFT creation, management, and so on. It speeds things up, reduces errors.
And these NFTs are stored securely within IPFS via AIOZ Pin.
They benefit from that same decentralized persistent storage we just talked about with pinning.
Got it. So it streamlines the process for creators and platforms. What about the analytics part? What kind of insights can you get?
The docs mention getting valuable insights into the performance of your NFT assets.
Okay, like what? How many views?
Potentially, yeah. Views, maybe transfer history, perhaps even tracking price trends across different marketplaces,
Right.
things like that.
Ah, so data that creators or collectors could actually use.
Definitely. Helps creators understand what's popular, helps collectors make more informed decisions. It's moving beyond just owning the token to understanding its context.
Right? Makes NFTs feel a bit more dynamic. Okay, component 3, AIOZ Pin Premium Gateways. Gateways. They're like the on-ramps to IPFS content for regular browsers.
Perfect way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
IPFS is its own network. To access stuff stored there using a normal web browser, you usually need a gateway. It acts as a bridge.
Otherwise, you'd need to run your own IPFS node, right?
Correct, which most everyday users don't do. Gateways make it accessible.
So what makes AIOZ Pin's gateways premium? The docs mention speed and reliability, optimized routes, low latency.
That's the core of it. It's all about the user experience.
Okay.
Imagine you click on an NFT image or you're using a dApp that pulls data from IPFS. If that gateway is slow or flaky,
Frustrating broken images, lag.
exactly, super frustrating. These premium gateways are designed to minimize that. They use smart routing to find the quickest path for the data request.
Like GPS for data packets.
Sort of, yeah. And low latency connections mean that data comes back faster once the path is found. It feels snappier, more like a traditional website.
So making Web3 feel less clunky.
That's the goal, I think. Seamless interaction.
All right. So those are the three core pieces. But the docs really emphasize that AIOZ Pin is powered by the AIOZ Network dCDN. That seems like the secret sauce.
It absolutely is.
Oh.
The underlying dCDN provides the muscle, the infrastructure that boosts what AIOZ Pin can do. The docs list several advantages that come directly from this.
Okay, let's break those down. First up, smart caching. What's smart about it?
So the dCDN figures out which content is popular, which files are being accessed a lot.
Right.
And then it automatically makes copies of that popular content and stores those copies on nodes that are geographically closer to the users requesting it.
Ah, so if lots of people in Europe are looking at something, it caches a copy there.
Exactly. So the next request from Europe gets served from a nearby node, not all the way from the original source, much faster retrieval, lower latency.
Like putting popular books in local library branches.
Precisely. Great analogy.
Okay, next advantage, smart routing. How's that different from caching?
Caching is about where the data is stored. Smart routing is about the path your request takes to get there.
Gotcha.
The dCDN uses algorithms to dynamically figure out the fastest, most efficient route for your data request to travel across a network to find the content, whether it's cached nearby or not.
So even if it's not cached right next door, it finds the best highway to get there.
You got it. It minimizes travel time, boosts reliability. It's constantly optimizing the journey.
Okay, so caching and routing work together for speed. Then there's built-in CDN capabilities. Isn't that just what it is, a dCDN?
Well, yes, but it emphasizes that AIOZ Pin seamlessly plugs into this inherently global distribution network.
Right.
The AIOZ network is a CDN. So by using AIOZ Pin, your dApp content automatically gets distributed efficiently across the globe. Lower latency worldwide, more consistent availability.
It leverages the whole network's power.
Exactly. Makes the whole system more resilient and performant.
Makes sense. Now, something for the builders out there. Developer friendly. What's the story?
We touched on it with NFTs, but it applies broadly. It means good SDKs and APIs with clear documentation.
Tools and instructions.
Right. The SDKs give developers code libraries and tools to easily integrate AIOZ Pin features. The APIs define how software components talk to each other. Good docs make it easy to use these tools, even if you're not, a deep expert.
Lowers the barrier to entry for building stuff.
Definitely. Makes it faster and easier to innovate.
Good to hear. Next, scalability and reliability. Hugely important for Web3.
Oh, yeah. The dCDN infrastructure is built to handle growth, lots of data, lots of users.
So if your dApp suddenly takes off?
AIOZ Pin, leveraging the dCDN, should be able to scale with it, handle more traffic, bigger files, without things slowing down or breaking.
And the reliability part.
That comes from the distributed nature. If one node goes down, others are there to pick up the slack. Content stays available. It's designed for uptime, even under pressure.
Built for the unpredictable Web3 world. Okay, last advantage listed, lower cost. How does that work?
It boils down to efficiency. Using a distributed network of existing resources is generally more cost-effective than building and maintaining huge, centralized data centers.
Right, you're leveraging shared capacity.
Exactly. That efficiency can mean lower storage and delivery costs compared to traditional cloud options.
Yeah.
Makes it potentially more affordable.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground there. Let's try to sum up the main points.
Sure. So we had the three core bits of AIOZ Pin.
Yeah.
The files pinning for making sure data sticks around.
Right, persistence.
The NFT management for easier handling of digital collectibles.
Minting, managing, analytics.
And the premium gateways for fast, smooth access to all that data.
Yep. And then underpinning all of that is the AIOZ Network dCDN.
Right, which adds the smart caching, the smart routing, the global CDN reach, the developer tools, the scalability, reliability.
And the potential cost savings.
Exactly. All powered by that distributed network.
So for you listening, the takeaway is that AIOZ Pin is positioned as this integrated solution. It aims to solve those core Web3 problems, keeping data safe and permanent, but also making it fast and easy to get to.
Especially relevant for NFTs and dApps, which really rely on that kind of dependable infrastructure. It's about building a stronger foundation for the decentralized web.
Which leads to a pretty interesting thought, doesn't it? As these kinds of solutions, reliable, scalable, decentralized storage and delivery, get better and more widespread, what new things become possible?
That's a great question. When you don't have to worry so much about data disappearing or access being slow, what kind of innovation does that unlock?
Yeah, think beyond just NFTs. Media science, collaboration. What happens when data is truly persistent and globally accessible almost instantly?
It really opens up the imagination, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Something to chew on.